Hi, this is Simon at HSC. Today I'm going to show you the setup and configuration for our LNT system for our XAG product line. LNT stands for Local Network Terminal. It is a solution for offline use of the XAG models. And I'm going to show you how to set it up. Let's move on. In order to set up all of your devices to work with the LNT, we're going to need a few things. First, we need to have all of our devices ready. So we need our LNT, our handheld controller, our RTK, antenna, and our drone. We'll also need batteries for each of the devices. We'll also need a tablet or phone with the XAG1 app installed, and we need a good Wi-Fi internet connection. So the very first step is we're going to open up our tablet, make sure it's connected to our home or internet Wi-Fi. Open up our XAG1 app. You can download this from our support page on our website. That's support.hse-uav.com, where you'll also find instructions on this process. And we're going to enter a phone number and send a verification code to register our account. Once you receive the verification code, you'll also be able to enter a password and save a password to your account, which you'll need to configure the LNT. Since I've already created mine, we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. Moving on to the next step, we're going to go ahead and power on our LNT. I'm going to use my battery connection and a flight battery to power it. So let's plug it into our drone battery. We'll plug the opposite side into our LNT on the bottom here. Just like that. Then we're going to turn on the battery, hold the button down, wait for the blinks, release, then hold the button down again. And then on the LNT itself, there's actually a power button as well. And this button you just have to press down, press and hold, and you'll see the lights turn on. Now when the LNT is powered on, you'll notice the lights are going to go through a sequence. They're going to start blinking here in a minute. We're going to wait for the LNT to fully initialize, which means the lights will stop blinking. And you're going to see that here in just a moment. So you can see how the lights are blinking. This is the initialization of the LNT. So we're going to give it just a minute for the lights to stop blinking. So you can see now all the lights, the first two and the last light on the LNT are now solid. They're no longer blinking, which means it is ready for us to connect to it, which will bring us to the next step. So we now need to connect our tablet or phone to the LNT's Wi-Fi hotspot. So just like connecting to your home internet, we're just going to go to our Wi-Fi connections. Open up our Wi-Fi connections. And we should see the LNT show up as an optional network. And typically it shows up as, you can see I have quite a few here, but usually it is XAG- a number. And you can see in this case it's 6ED6. I'm going to select it and it asks me for a password. All of XAG's devices come with a default password, which is 2007-0401. Again, that's 2007-0401. That's XAG's founding date. And connect. So now that it's connected, sometimes you may see a message like this. Internet may not be available, and it's going to ask you, do you want to disconnect, always connect, or connect only this time? This is because the LNT is not currently connected to a Wi-Fi internet connection, and in this case, we're going to tell it to always connect. So now that we're connected, we actually need to connect our LNT to a Wi-Fi connection. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to just close out of our settings. And the fastest and easiest way to do this is go to your internet browser. And we're going to type in a website called iotlogin.com. Again, the letter I, the letter O, the letter T, the word login.com. It brings us to this page. This is the settings for our LNT module. Again, we're going to enter our XAG global password, 2007-0401 to log in. So now that we're logged in, we need to go change a setting that allows us to connect to our Wi-Fi connection. So we're going to go down to the bottom here, and there's a router setup option. We're going to go ahead and click on that. And there is an option up here for WLAN mode or WAN mode. So the LNT by default always boots up in WLAN mode, which does not allow for the device to be discoverable to Wi-Fi connections. So in order for us to connect to the internet, we have to switch the mode. So we're going to select the mode. It's going to ask us to confirm. And it's also going to tell us that it will be logged out and logged back in. So we go click OK. You can see it's going to ask us to log back in. We're going to put our password back in, 2007-0401. Click log in. Oh, let me make sure I typed it correctly. 2007-0401. There we go. And now we're able to go to our wireless connections and connect to our local Wi-Fi network. You can see mine is already connected, but if you need to select a Wi-Fi connection, you just select it and type in your password. That's simple. And you can see that once it's actually connected to a Wi-Fi connection, all 4 lights are going to be solid. And our third light here, which is our cloud indicator light, is now solid, which indicates it is connected to the internet. That means we can move on to the next step. So for the next step, we're actually going to turn on all of our devices. So we'll start with our controller. The buttons on the bottom, we'll go ahead and press it down until the lights all blink, release, then press it down again. We'll let that boot up. We're going to turn on our RTK antenna. Again, same process. Here's our power button. We're going to press the power button down until all the lights blink, release, then press it down. And we're going to do the same thing on our drone. On our battery, push the power button down until all the lights blink, release, then press it down. And moving on, we have our tablet open here. We're going to go ahead and open the XAG app. And you're going to notice that it's going to ask us to log in again. Every time you connect to the LNT, it will ask you to log in again because it is a local connection, not a cloud connection. So the first time you log in to your new LNT, it saves your username and password so that you can log in subsequently without an internet connection. So let's go ahead and log in. I'm going to log in with my password. And note, you do need to have a password configured in order to log in with the LNT. You can't use the SMS code verification. So you can see it just logged me in. Now we're going to go to our Me icon at the bottom right. And at the very right here in the middle, we have our device page. And we're going to go to the top right where it says the 3 little dots and go to our LNT network configuration. Let me adjust you guys so you can see it. And we'll start with our remote controller because we have it right here next to us. I know it's a little dark. Go to remote controller. It's going to ask us that our controller light is green and our LNT lights are green. We'll check the little box at the bottom to indicate that's true. And the next step is actually to connect to the remote controller's Wi-Fi hotspot. So we have to go into the remote controller's settings and tell it what the credentials for the LNT are. So all we have to do is click the set button at the bottom. That's going to open up our Wi-Fi connections. And we should see in our list, once it shows up here, our various devices. So in this case, this is the ACS2 controller, and we see it right here. Once again, our password, 2000, oh, I didn't mean to do that. 2007-0401, and go ahead and click connect. We may get that message about connecting without an internet connection again, and we are going to tell our tablet that's okay. A lot of tablets or phones, they'll want to connect to a connection that it believes is best. Like this, it says internet is not available. That is okay. We're going to always connect. We'll go ahead and click the back button to bring us back to the app a couple times. And now that we're connected, we'll go ahead and click the connected button. So now we're going to enter the information for our LNT network name. So in case you don't remember it, you can always drop down your Wi-Fi connections and verify the name of your LNT. We'll see it here. I'm not actually going to connect to it. Here it is, XAG 6ED6. Now, it is very important when you enter the name here, you can see I've already entered mine, that it's entered exactly as it's seen in the Wi-Fi settings. So capital X, capital G, hyphen, 6, capital E, capital D, 6, with no extra spaces. And for our password, of course, you're starting to learn by now. Memorize it, 2007-04-01, and you can even choose to save it for the next time. That looks good. We'll go ahead and click the connection button, and it's going to say configured. Now, what you're going to see, let's just back up here, is the connection directly to our controller will automatically disconnect here in a moment. And you can see it's now actually gone to my office Wi-Fi. We're going to want to tell it to connect back to our LNT instead. It's best if you have only the LNT saved as a saved network. Make this a little bit easier. And you can see on my controller the lights have changed, and I actually have my first, second, third, and fifth green light on, which means my connection was successful. Now that we've successfully connected our controller, let's move on to our portable base station. I have it right in front of me. The order that you do these in is not important. Just have to make sure you do all of these devices. Click on portable base station. Our RTK base station is on. Sure is. So is our LNT. Click next. Okay, so now we have an extra step here. We have to press and hold the F1 button on the device and release it until you hear a beep. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. I have it right here. The F1 button is on the bottom as indicated in the picture. Hold it down until we hear a beep. There's our beep. Perfect. What that's going to do is enable the Wi-Fi connection for our RTK antenna. So once again, the process, just like the controller, is we're going to click on the set button down here. It's going to open up our Wi-Fi connections in our settings. And we should see our antenna. This one's called XBase _ the serial number of the antenna. So there it is. Put in our usual password, 2007-04-01, and click connect. Once again, we may get a warning saying that, hey, this connection doesn't have internet, and that is okay. We always want to make sure it connects. So let's wait for it to connect. Always connect. And then we can hit the back button to bring us back into the app, and we are, in fact, connected to this network. And you can see now that I've entered my LNT information previously, it remembers it for the next time. So all I got to do is click connect, and it says configured. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and move on to the drone. So let's go ahead and click on the agricultural drone. And our aircraft is on and our local host is on. It sure is. Let's go ahead and hit the next button. Now this also requires a process to enable the Wi-Fi connection on the drone. So let me show you how that works. So the first step is we're going to have to remove the hood to the drone. This is a V40 model, but most XAG products have a very similar process to remove the hood. In this case, we just pull up on the back of the hood, the clips come off, pull forward slightly, and it comes right off. Now, on top of the drone, you'll see the flight controller. And there's a little tiny hole right there that has a button that we have to depress. Now, XAG is kind enough to include a special little tool in the toolbox included with the drone that's perfect to depress these buttons. So let me show you that. Here's a little tool. It's just a little plastic poker. In a pinch, a ballpoint pen works just as well. So what we're going to do, let me bring you up so you can see, is we're going to go to this little hole here, and we're going to press it for 2 seconds, release, and then press it for 2 seconds. After we release it the second time, this third light should change color to orange. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go to the button here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, release for 1 second. 1, 2, release. Now take a look at these lights. You see that? It started blinking orange. Again, that enables the Wi-Fi to be visible on our tablet and allow us to connect and configure our LNT. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we followed the instructions to enable the Wi-Fi, and we're gonna go ahead and click the set button. Once again, this is gonna open up our Wi-Fi settings, and we need to find our drone's Wi-Fi. And you'll notice here it is, XAG underscore the serial number of the drone. Let's go ahead and tap on that. And we'll enter our usual password, 2007-04-01, and connect. Once again, if this is the first time you're connecting to it, it may ask you this message coming up here saying, are you sure you want to connect? It doesn't have internet. Yes, we do. So give it just a moment. Yep, we always connect. So now that we're connected, we can go ahead and click the back arrow and click connected. Once again, it saves my LNT information here from the previous time I connected, and I'll go ahead and click connection. There it is configured. Go ahead and click OK, and we can go back now. So now we've actually configured our drone, our remote controller, and our base station, and we're ready to move on to the next steps of adding the devices to our XAG account. So now that we've configured all of our devices to talk to the LNT, the next step is actually to add the devices to our XAG account. Let me hit the back button here. We're in our device list. This process is really simple. We're going to hit the plus button here, and we're actually going to start with our LNT. Once we hit the plus button, you'll notice it's going to open up the camera to scan a QR code. However, for the LNT, there's a little button down here that says Add LNT. It's going to ask you to confirm that you are connected to the LNT hotspot. So let's double check. We'll click connect, and it's going to open up our Wi-Fi settings. And actually, I'm already connected. So let's go ahead and hit the back button and hit next. So you can see that after I hit next, that gives me the options to name the device however I'd like. You can enter your name here. I've already done so. And I can click next. Now that's going to add the device to my device list, and it takes just a minute to load. So there we are. It successfully added the device. If I view the device details, you can see there's my HSC LNT, and it is online. Let's go ahead and add our other devices. So we'll go ahead and click the plus button, and now we'll need to add some of our other devices. Let's go ahead and add the drone. So let me show you first where the serial number and the code for the drone is located. If we scoot over to the drone over here, it's a bit hidden. On the side of the drone, there's a nameplate. Here's the QR code, and here is the serial number. I'm going to go ahead and enter that serial number and get right back to you. Just like that, when I enter my serial number, it shows up with my drone. I can enter my device name however I'd like to name it, and click next. Again, it's going to take just a moment to load, and it will add it to our device list. So there we are. We get the big green check mark, and it shows that it's added. So if I view my device details, there's my drone online. Let's go ahead and add our controller and our RTK. Here's our controller, and the serial number is right on the top. There it is. Go ahead and name it and click next. Our controller is now in our device list, and it shows online. Time to add the RTK. The RTK base serial number is located on the bottom of the mushroom antenna, right here. And just like that, I've added my RTK base as well. So we're just about ready to operate. There's just one more step we got to take, and that is pairing the controller to the drone. First, we have to set our drone as what's called an operation device. You'll notice up here we have operation devices and then more devices down here. If you don't have the drone in the operation device list, it won't show up as a available device to actually operate in the field. So this is really simple. Just click on the device and set as an operation device. And we can also pair the remote controller from here. So you can see it says not connected, pair remote controller. Just click here and it gives you the option for the remote controller that's currently on. We'll go ahead and select it and click pair. It's going to set the network and pair it. You can see now the pair remote controller option here says connected, and if you click on it, it actually tells you the serial number of the controller that's connected, and we can verify based on the serial number on top of the controller. So now if we go back to the device page, you'll see there's our V40 online, there's our controller online, our base station online, and our LNT. We're actually ready to operate. Now, one last thing you can check for is to make sure that all of your software and firmware is up to date. And you can actually go into each of the device pages and check that. So if we click on each of the devices, you can check for firmware updates on each page, and each of the devices has its own firmware update page. You can see firmware update. Now the very last thing I want to mention is right now we still have our LNT on, and it's got all 4 lights on, which means it's connected to the internet. Now, when you restart this device, it automatically switches back over to WLAN mode, which will disconnect it from the internet. That is its intended usage in the field. The LNT is designed for offline use. So every time you restart it, it will disconnect from the internet. However, all of your devices will connect automatically. The process that we went through is a one-time process. You will no longer need an internet connection in the field operating with the LNT. However, if you do need to do any type of firmware updates or sync the information from your flight records, you will need to go through the process of connecting the LNT to the internet. And you can actually see the sync process when it's connected to the web. If you go to your device page and click on the LNT device, it will actually show you the current data sync status up here. So if you click on it, you can see what time and date everything was backed up. So it is recommended during operations when you have access to an internet connection again to connect it and leave it on for a little bit of time, about a half hour or so, to sync all the information to your account. That way it can be accessed whether you're online or offline. Thanks again for watching this video. I hope this really helps you set up and configure your XAG LNT for offline use. If you guys do have any questions, you can always visit us at our support page at support.hse-uav.com. That will actually have all the manuals for what we just covered. Again, I hope this video is really helpful for you, and we'll see you guys next time.